about a year and a half. I've been working on DNA, network data platform, which Pratikha is very familiar with. So, because I've received tons of bugs that Pratikha has filed, which is we're thankful for your findings. I've also worked on Polaris programmability in the past, and I've seen some familiar faces of colleagues I've worked with also. When Paul Sherrill approached me and asked me to give a talk in AIM, I immediately went to the AIM Jive page and I browsed through topics that people have talked about in the past. And I was very impressed with my colleagues. The topic was very interesting, from yoga to meditations to people who have done triathlon and black belt taekwondo. So I have to tell Paul, I just want to level set ahead of time. I don't do yoga. I haven't done triathlon. I live a pretty plain life, and my focus has been work and my 2 kids. And that's how I came about the work-life balance as a topic for today's talk. I have 2 little girls. Liesel is 6 years old, and she's in kindergarten. And Leah is 4 years old, and she's in preschool. And they're all full of energy, and they keep me busy, and they definitely add colors to my overall life, and it's been fun. So in the next few minutes, I will talk more about my day in a life as a Cisco program manager and a mom of 2 kids. I'll start with my good days. So my good days, I get up at 6:30. I get dressed for work. I help the kids get ready, right? And then my husband prepare breakfast, and we get out the door by 7:45. I get to work by 8:30, which is a sweet spot because most of my meetings don't start until 9. So I have time to prepare, I have time to make coffee. And many of my good days, it has 3 to 4 meetings, and I still have time to be productive and try and finish as many tasks as possible at work. And I try to hit the road by 4:30 so that I can pick up 2 kids in 2 different places by 6 o'clock. Now, 6 o'clock is an interesting time because that's what I call my second shift, with 2 more demanding bosses who would, most of the time, would not take no for an answer. So it's definitely, an interesting time. And in good days, I think everybody's pretty behaved, and we go with the program. I prepare dinner, we get on the dining table with no issues, and we're done with dinner around 7:30, and we have about an hour to spend time together as a family. In fact, last Tuesday was pretty interesting. My 6-year-old came home and said, "Mom, I have a project, and I have to present on Wednesday. I have to bring an item that starts with letter K." So I said, "Oh, that's pretty easy. You can bring keys." And she said, "No, 2 of my friends already brought keys on Mondays. I don't want to bring keys." I said, "That makes sense. So, Liesel, tell me, what do you have in mind? What do you want to bring?" She immediately said, "I want to bring kettle chips or Kit Kat chocolate bar." At the back of my head, it's like, nice try, young lady. This is a girl who always skips lunches. She doesn't touch lunch boxes that we prepare from home. And she would rather eat crackers, chips, and cookies all day. So I said, "Well, it's a good idea, Liesel, but unfortunately I don't have any Kit Kat or chips at this time at home. I do have kale in the fridge. I can make kale salad. You can tell your friends how you eat well and you eat salad." And she looked at me, she said, "I think that's a good idea, but no thanks." So we finally decided on keychains, and we wanted to make our own keychain. So we opened up her art crafts boxes. We took out some beads, we took out some strings, and we made our keychain. I took one of the key ring from my keychain, and it was pretty fun. And she was pretty proud of her creation. And on Wednesday, she got home and she said, "All of my friends wanted to see my creation, my homemade keychains, and everybody thinks it's really cool." So that was a good, well-balanced day. Now, I do want to share with you the days that I feel not so balanced, with the caveat that this doesn't happen too often, thankfully. So this happened a few months ago. I remember I was preparing for Polaris Programmability EC, so I was on the phone with wireless team until late at night at 11. I didn't wrap up my slides until pretty late. I wasn't able to go to sleep until past midnight. Came 2 a.m., I feel somebody tapping on my shoulder. And it's my 4-year-old Leah, and she said, I had a bad dream. Can you just give me one hug and one kiss? And I said, okay. And I was half asleep. I still closed my eyes, and I gave her one hug and one kiss. And she walked away. 5 seconds after, she tapped me again. Actually, Mama, I changed my mind. I want 4 hugs and 4 kisses. So I said, fine, okay. I gave her 4 hugs and 4 kisses, and she said, can you now please walk me to my room because it's too dark? I said, okay. I started walking her to her room, brought her in, I said, good night. And it was just one of the days when I was so busy at work, my mind was still running and I wasn't able to fall asleep right away. I didn't go back to sleep until close to 3. And comes around 4 o'clock, I feel that a tap on my shoulder. And then this is, my 4-year-old goes through the cycle where she wakes up at night a few times for a very few days and then she'll sleep through the night again. So this 4 a.m. she said, Mama, I just went potty, but I'm not comfortable. Can you please help me straighten my blanket? And I was pretty annoyed, I was pretty tired, so I nudged my husband, I said, your turn. So he got up, and then of course, my 4-year-old said, Mama, I asked you, I didn't ask Papa, so I want you to help me. So I said, I didn't want to make a big fuss of it. I got up, I tucked her in, and I said, good night. Now, remember the rule, if the sun is not up and it's not bright outside, do not wake me up again. But again, you know, I was tossing and turning. I wasn't able to go back to sleep until 5, and then 6:25, my alarm rings, and I keep snoozing. I woke up late, and kids woke up late, and my older one, Liesel, complained she didn't feel well, but I snapped at her. I said, no, you're feeling fine, and you're going to school, right? And then I got to work by 9. I was pretty productive in the morning. 11:30, I got a phone call from Leah's preschool teacher. Hello, Leah's mom. It doesn't seem like Leah has a proper lunch today. And I said, Miss Rachel, can you please tell me more about this proper lunch? Well, her lunchbox is filled of chopped celery and carrots. Then I just remember the Sunday before when I was preparing meals, I wasn't able to find empty containers. So I opened my cupboards and then I found, you know, like a pink Hello Kitty container lunchbox, one of their big girls' lunchbox. So I just snatched it and I said, well, no harm, I'm just gonna keep my chopped raw vegetable, hide it at the back of a fridge, you know, nobody will notice. And obviously it got mixed up and my husband picked the wrong lunchbox and there you go. Chopped celery and carrot for 4-year-old lunch. But I asked the teacher, I said, Miss Rachel, can you please do me a favor? Can you please give her some snacks from school for her lunch, which she did. And then I asked her, please tell Leah that I will try and pick her up early so that she can have an early dinner. Which she did, and then I browsed through my calendar. I want to make sure I want to leave by 4 so I can take her out to make up for it. Comes 1:30, I got a phone call from kindergarten, from Liesel's school. Mom, I don't think Liesel's feeling well. She has fever. Can you please pick her up? And at the back of my head, I remembered this morning when she said she wasn't feeling well, and I snapped at her and I said, no, you're fine and you're going to school. So I felt like 2 strike being a bad mom. So I rushed out to pick her up from school. I wanted to make sure that I get home by 3 for, I think I remember I had a conference call at 3. So I get home at 3, jump into my conference call, trying to arrange the logistics for the next day because usually school has a policy you're not supposed to go back until a day after. So after that, then I lost track of time. I completely forgot about my promise to pick up my younger one early. So I look at the clock, it's 5:15. I rush out and pick her up, and there you go. She looked pretty upset. So I approached her, I said, I'm sorry, Leah, I know you're pretty upset. You didn't have proper lunch today. And with 2 hands on her hip, no, I wasn't upset about my lunch today. I was very happy to eat goldfish and popcorn for lunch. But I'm very upset because you didn't keep your promise. Miss Rachel told me that you were going to pick me up early. So I said, Okay, great. I feel like that's strike three, right? First, I told my kid who's sick to go to school. Second, that I packed wrong lunch. Third, I'm introducing popcorn for lunch for a 4-year-old. So that was a very interesting day. And so we got home, and I remember just feeling very tired. And I got up and worked, and I didn't go to sleep until pretty late. And so that was just one example of the not so balanced day. But fortunately, like I mentioned, most of my days look like the good balanced day. So if I go back to the work-life balance definitions, in Cambridge Dictionary, work-life balance says it's amount of time that I spent at work versus amount of time that I spent outside work. In Wiki, it says it's proper prioritizations between work and activities outside work. What I think of work-life balance is the definitions definitely differ across stages of life. So for example, when I just graduated from college, my work-life balance definition is to have my weekends. I didn't mind working 10 to 12 hours work week, but I definitely have to have my weekends so that I can be on top of all the new movies that come out in theater and not missing out when my friends hanging out. Later in my career, I got an opportunity to lead an implementation of a sales application. So I got to travel to multiple different sales offices, and it was very exciting. And then at the time, I've also decided to go back to school and pursue my MBA. So I went to school on Mondays and Wednesdays between 6 and 9:30. So my definition of work-life balance at the time is be on top of my work, be on top of my school, and still able to travel. After I had my first child, then I requested my employer to be moved to a different program that required less travel. Without realizing, I think 3 months in, the company introduced a mandatory Tuesday work late until 8, and every other Saturday, everybody must be at work. So it doesn't seem much, it's just once a week on Tuesday, the evening, every other Saturday, it's not a big deal, but it was a pretty big deal for me. Consider that that was like my last semester in my MBA. So I have Monday out from home, Tuesday I have to work late, Wednesday I have to go to school, and every other Saturday. So at the time, I negotiated with my employer for a Friday work from home, and I extended my FMLA to take every other Friday off. So my work-life balance at the time is I didn't want to drop the ball at work, but I want to make sure I dedicate at least a day and in the weekends to spend time with my baby. So recently, with the kids now older, of course, my work-life balance definitions also change. Nowadays, I want to make sure that I'm there for my children. I'm there for their doctor's appointments. I'm there when the school's asking for parent volunteers. I'm there when they have a Halloween parade and Christmas parade. And think about it, this is ×2, right? And many times that this has happened during the day. So my work-life balance definitions is having that flexibility. I don't mind coming to work extra early. I don't mind taking calls until 11 p.m. But I want to make sure that I have the opportunities to take that 2 to 3 hours away from work whenever I need to and whenever I need to be in my kids' school. So overall, personally, I do think work-life balance definition is really differ across different stages of life. And there's no one perfect template that would fit all. So having said that there's no template that fits all, I just want to share with you my template, and with the caveat that it may not fit with everyone. So being honest, I continuously reassess definitions of happiness throughout my stages of life, right? Like I mentioned, whether it's not missing out on a movie, whether it's be able to travel and spend time with my kids. That's my definition on happiness, which differ in various stages of life. And then sticking to my principle, I talk about having the flexibility at work, which I love about Cisco. And having that flexibility, I want to make sure I'm still accountable. I want to make sure my colleagues can still count on me. And they know that if I say I'm going to deliver by Friday, I will deliver by Friday. And I may spend 5 hours today, I may spend 10 hours the next day, but I promise I will deliver, then I'll be accountable. And then I also level set with my team members. When there were days when I had to work from home for 2 weeks because my daughter wasn't feeling well. And then I level set with my supervisor, with people that I work with, that just those 2 weeks is going to be odds and I have to work from home. There are days when I have to leave early on certain days. Then I tell my team members, hey, in case you need to reach me, ping me in this number. I may be away for between this hour, and I apologize due to my delayed response. And continue to be prioritizing. I wanna be reasonable with myself. So usually on Mondays I made a set of goals of what I want to do for the week, whether it's work or non-work related. Also a reminder for me, things like scheduling kids' doctor appointment, following up on my dentist eye doctor appointment. I make it as one list, so comes Friday, I open it and see how many things that I still have to accomplish that weekend or the week after. And then at the end of the day, I do want to make sure that, even this is just not for me, but my husband and I, we recognize and celebrate our accomplishment for the week. During the times when kids were sick and weeks were long, on a Friday we say, hey, we survived the week and look what we have, fun time with the kids this weekend. We want to pat ourselves in the back for what we've accomplished that week. And, we are all adults. Sometimes we need our me time. So on some Saturdays when the kids are napping at home, I do take my times to go out and get coffee and walk around window shopping or walk at the park. If what I need is that for an hour by myself, then I'll do it. So that's just my template. So in closing, a few days ago I was sharing my plan to talk about work-life balance with one of my colleagues, and he asked me, okay, thinking about your work so far and life outside work, if you were given the options and the means to pick between one over the other, like 100% career, maybe hire a live-in nanny so that you don't have to worry much about kids, or drop the career and be 100% stay-at-home mom, which one would you pick? So I told him I would still pick both. When I lead a program to completions, like today is DAD 1.1 release, guys. And when I lead a program towards the completions, and when I'm able to get the team and team members together to move the task along and get things done, I feel very satisfied, I feel very accomplished.